If your man complains that you're expensive, just tell him that there are other girls out there in different price ranges and remind him that you always get what you pay for.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. I have my new hardware in finally, and I'm testing to see if I can put my microphone off to the side and still hear my beautiful voice for print well enough that I can do this without a mic right in my face. We'll give it a test run. A female dating coach goes viral for making her own life awful. This was something that's been circulating around over the internet for the last, week or two, and I'm finally getting a chance to do this now that my hardware is back up and running. A dating coach gives out great advice, wonderful advice, to other people that are not as fortunate as her. You know, that's what dating coaches are supposed to do. Teach you, dating and life coaches, I guess, teach you how to live a better life. But when you inspect her own life, it's completely miserable. And this is something that is happening across the board. You look at influencers on social media, they're getting paid the big bucks to tell you how to live a wonderful and happy life. And in the meantime, their own lives are completely, I guess miserable is the best word for it. I got two stories pertaining to that tonight. We'll upload both here at the same time. Before I jump into that, usually I do this at the end of the video, but I'm going to do it at the beginning. Right now over on betterbachelor.locals.com, you can go to betterbachelor.locals.com/support and become a supporter for a year. Usually it's $50, and it's normally $5 a month, and you get a year. That's obviously $60, but I knock it down to $50, so you get a couple months free. I've now knocked another $12 off, so you can get 1 year of support for $38. That's roughly $3.20, $3.10 a month to support yours truly. Check out the forums. Come join us for movie nights and other events like that. A great way to support the channel, and it keeps me independent of YouTube and a big mama YouTube censoring me, so I would really appreciate it. Here is the lady in question. Now, obviously, my thumbnail is AI representation of her because I've actually done a couple of thumbnails I got in trouble for using other people's photography. That's why I'm using a little bit more AI for a lot of my thumbnails. This is the gal in question. Now, not unattractive, but she looks like she's closing in on, 40 plus probably now. And this was the story that was being shared, was this one in the next screenshot I have. Cheating on my husband made me a better mother. You know, this is kind of the craziness that we're getting into. Now, this is a little bit of an older article. It's a couple years old now, but you can kind of check, just like we do with some of these other, female dating coaches that can't seem to settle down and find a man, or they find one, then lose one, then find one, then lose one. And you kind of go back 10 years and read all the articles they write right up until yesterday, and it turns out their lives are turning out absolutely miserable. Well, this is another case for that. This is written by an L. Silver. Cheating on my husband made me a better mother. My affair made me happier, and by consequence, also my kids. Now, I'm not going to read all these articles, obviously. We have better time for that, or better time to spend our money. The idea, though, is she's giving advice, hey, you know what? I had to find a change. Life was boring. Things weren't going so great. So after suffering in a miserable marriage, I decided to have an affair. I was no longer the same person. I felt happier than I had in a long time. And that happiness was rubbing off on my sons. So her justification for cheating on her husband is she needed more happiness. And the byproduct of her becoming more happy was her kids were more happy. And thus, the affair was okay. It's okay to do that. I did a good thing because now my kids are happier and I'm happier. She says, don't get me wrong, I'm not promoting cheating as the solution to a couple's marriage problems. Oh, wait, but there's more. Even back then, I knew cheating was wrong, but being angry and had the big sad while enduring an unhappy marriage was also bad. Cheating was but a Band-Aid over a festering wound. Made me happier, and as a result, my kids became happier too. And in that way, cheating on my husband made me a better mother. You see how so many people today will dance and dance and dance and do all the dancing and circle, I don't even know what the right word is, jerking, I guess, to find a way to be okay with their bad behavior. And this woman is a prime example of it. Well, what if you check up, let's see how other things are going on in her life. Let's check up with, now that was in August. Let's check up on her in October, just a couple months later. I quiet quit my marriage. No, I'm sorry, this is from 2020. This is from 2022, so almost 2 years later. I quiet quit my marriage, staying for the money and for our kids, even though I was miserable. So here we are 2 years later after she cheated on her husband. She's still in the marriage. She hasn't fixed anything. She basically has tapped out of the marriage, and she stayed for the money and for the kids, even though she was miserable. Only by loudly quitting was I able to finally move on. So she's given up completely on the marriage, and the husband said, "We need to go to marriage therapy now." My husband cried out. I just told him I was leaving him. He said I'd blindsided him and demanded we go through marriage therapy right that moment. Sounds like a guy that loves his wife, wants to keep the family together, keep things going along. She said we ended up in the counselor's office the very next day. My husband called it his own therapist, which also happened to be a marriage counselor. And they got in, and she goes on and she basically says, "Hey, I quit out on the marriage." What's the follow-up? We needed a divorce coach to help us split up, not a marriage therapist to keep us together. This is from February 25th. So she wanted a coach on how to, let's find out how to split and go our separate ways rather than stay married and stay together. Let's not bother finding a way to make this work. I'm out. I'm done. I'm moving on. She's the one that tapped out. She cheated on him. She basically quit on the marriage, quit on the family. Then instead of trying to fix it, she admits she's bowing out. What do we have after that? This is from December 1st of 2022, so after the other articles. The February one, I'm not sure when that was. I feel inferior to my son's friends' parents because they're rich and married and I'm poor and divorced. My sense of worth can't be derived from outside traits. And here she goes through and basically laments the fact that, I'll read a little bit of it. Kevin's parents sold their house and made $400,000 in profit. The kid's talking, supposedly the kid knows all this about his friends' parents and how well they're doing. I'm doing what my parents did when I was growing up. I'm trying to distract from someone else's financial success. Never realized my parents lacked confidence. Oh, I didn't realize this was a member-only story. Whoopsie. But through here, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, through here, basically, she's just saying, hey, I should not judge my life based on other people's success and my failures. I think that's actually good advice. You don't want to gauge how well your life is going based on somebody else's. But you notice she's complaining. I feel inferior to my son's friends' parents because they're rich and married, and I'm poor and divorced. Who chose to do the divorce? She did. Who decided to tap out on the husband? She did. Who decided to cheat on her husband? She did. And where does it land her? Poor and divorced. Whose fault is it? Hers. Because as we read in the other article, the husband wanted to stay married. And they were probably doing better than she is now, I bet you. And these articles, I pulled up some of her articles here. She's got 10,000 followers. That means 10,000 people follow along to check on her advice. My husband, this is from March 4th, I guess. My husband told me we'd be rich. He ended up ruining me financially. You cheated on him. You left him. You didn't work on the marriage. You divorced him. So if he decided to ruin you, whose fault is that? Yours. You didn't work on the marriage. You cheated on him. I dated my coworker. He broke up with me, then became my boss. Whose fault's that? She decided to date a coworker. My fiance. Okay, now she's got a fiance. This is February 28th. They don't have the years on here. My fiance. Wait. So that's. Hold on a second. Is this from February 28th? It just says February 28th. My fiance's rich family was angry that I, the bride, didn't foot the entire bill for our wedding. Is that for her last husband? Is that for a new one? I mean, these look to be in chronological: March 4th, March 1st, February 28th, February 26th, February 25th. These are in chronological order, it seems. So I guess this is a new fiance. My ex ended up better financially than me. Divorce isn't fair. We needed a divorce coach to help us split up, not a marriage. Yeah, so it sounds like she's already moving on. My kids live part-time in a big house with their dad, but prefer life full-time with me in my tiny apartment. I divorced my husband because I couldn't trust him with my money. Do you see what I'm saying? And this actually will I'll get into the second video that I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about this video now, but it's the same point. People are taking horrible advice from horrible people. If you came to me and asked for marriage advice, my advice is don't. That's it. I know my limitations. You don't probably want to talk to a guy that's been twice divorced and had several bad relationships where the women cheated on him, and I had issues with trust issues and some other things. I'm probably not the guy you want to go to be the life coach or the dating and marriage coach of. Now, if you want somebody that says, hey, I don't think it's a good idea to be married, and here's why, and here's how you can be happy, I might be the right coach for that. But these people are writing articles to tell people how to be happy and what you need to do and how to move on and what's right for you, and their own lives are miserable. And this is going to go to the same thing of this other video that I'm going to talk about, is you look at these people that are on TikTok and on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and they're supposedly influencers. God, I hate that name, influencer. And they're influencing people. Hey, look at my life and look how great things are and look how wonderful, and you should be more like me. The problem is the camera's only on for maybe a minute or two, or if you put out longer form content, maybe 15 minutes. But when that camera turns off, these people have horrible lives. They're miserable. They're awful. I know firsthand, someone that was on Instagram that probably had 20 or 25, 30,000, I don't remember now, 30,000 followers on Instagram. And she would post pictures of her at the gym and how happy she was and how great life is and pictures of travel and everything else. But in the meantime, she was lonely. She was miserable. She took medication for antidepressants. She hated her life. But for that brief second, there'd be the smile and everything's great. Why? To put on a false face. And that's what everybody's doing. So in the meantime, you've got people that have bad lives watching other people that also have bad lives pretend to be happy, and all it does is make their own lives seem worse in comparison. Everybody's miserable because of this. And this woman here went viral for these two clips. Somebody shared these two posts. Cheating on my husband made me a better mother. And the other one was, I think this one. Nope. This one. Cheating made me better, and now I feel inferior because they're married and rich, and I'm poor and divorced. All of it's her own fault. And 10,000 people follow along. Now, maybe they're watching the train wreck. I don't know. But there are some people out there that read this stuff, and they're like, you know what? She makes good sense. I need to listen to this person. Do you really? Because now she's probably creeping up to 40 plus. She's not doing well. She's single. She's poor. She lives in a tiny apartment, apparently. Is this really the people we want to be listening to? So, guys, a lot of times, you guys out there get down on yourselves, and you're hard on yourselves, and you say, man, something's wrong with me, or something's wrong with women, or something's wrong with society. Or some of that's probably true, or maybe part of all three of it. But the one thing you shouldn't do is get down on yourselves about it. This isn't about looking at other people and seeing how great their lives are and feeling yours is worse, because I'll tell you, a lot of people out there are pretty miserable. It's not about seeing women that are, I don't know, working their own jobs and acting snooty and entitled and better than you somewhere on social media or even in real life, thinking they're better than you, and you feel bad about yourself because a lot of these women are doing pretty bad themselves. It's not about you asking a woman out on a date, getting your courage up, asking a woman out on a date, she decides to shame you and make fun of you and post something on social media. It's not about that anymore. It's about the fact that a lot of people are leading really unhappy, miserable lives, and they want to drag you down like crabs in a bucket to join them. Trust me, it's better for me to maybe not so much pay attention to this stuff. Go out, touch some grass, enjoy life, realize the real world is a lot different than it is on the internet. And a lot of the awful people in society today are the ones getting the most attention, whether good or bad. And if you follow along and you pay attention and you judge your life based on theirs, trust me, you're not going to feel good about yourself. But what you're following or what you're comparing yourself to is a lie. And that's the important thing to remember. Guys, once again, join me at betterbachelor.locals.com/support. It's $38 for a full year. That's $3 a month. And if you want to just try a month for free, you can use promo code JOKER, JOKERS, WILD, all one word, caps, cap locks, Jokers. I think let me see. I might even have an image of it because there's Jokers Wild and Joker is Wild. You can use either one. That's it right there. Jokers with no I, Jokers Wild, like all caps, or Joker is Wild, all caps. You can get a free month. Just sign up, drop in your email, sign up, put in that code, do it as a monthly thing. Check it out. I think it's a great corner of the internet. I think you'll like it. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next one.